Hey, folks, welcome to another episode of the Transformation Roundtable. Glad to have everybody here. We are today 721 members strong in the group. Still want to keep adding to that, so please tell your friends and family and anybody you want to all about us. We got a few things we want to announce before we start the show today. Gary, you want to start?
Yeah, first up, I'll go on that, and I just want to say hi to everybody. But you know, check in the Transformation Roundtable group. We've got some things going on where we're going to be working with different instructors and maybe their classes and whatnot to be able to do some group challenges, or and so keep an eye out for that. They're going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Kristen Nava and I are working on a project as well, Gary. We're gonna make some short videos, everything under 5 minutes, and we're gonna do very short workouts to inspirational songs. We're working on our first one right now. We may call it something like Inspiration Under Five, but there'll be some really just short, quick workout ones. It was kind of a combination of all the posts about music and the Thunderstruck challenge. So it should be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun doing those. We'll be doing them live, inviting people to join us and everything. So just keep an eye out for some of this new stuff that we're going to be doing. So
I'm looking forward to that one.
yeah, it should be interesting. I really I did the first one today, just trying it out, and it hurt. So you want to introduce our guest for today?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we really don't need to introduce him, but we're going to anyway. Let's go ahead and bring on Adam Hibbs.
And here he comes. Adam has lost 227 pounds, 267 pounds.
267, yes.
267 pounds and is probably the longest running practitioner of DDPY other than the man himself and a few people at the PC. And tonight is all about Adam and his story, and we are honored to be the first ones to actually get to hear your story, Adam. So it is your show, my dear.
Okay, well, I appreciate Heather and Gary allowing me the platform to do this. This is a very personal thing for me, so I want to make that very clear. And I'm honored to do it. So, first thing I want to talk about is loss and tragedy. Um, this goes back to my childhood, starting out. You know, as all of us have had our situations with other people, with being made fun of or prodded, poked, just being told that you can't do it, being told you suck, you're worthless. I've heard every name in the book, you name it, I've heard it. I've been called that, from school to certain other individuals that used to be a friend. You would think a friend would want to support you, not so much. Being backstabbed by just poorness of negativity from other people's actions. So when I was a kid, and I'm very proud to say I'm a pro wrestling fan. I have been for all my life, and I've been made fun of for that. Been made fun of for just who and what I was as a kid. I was a very timid, very shy individual, so I would be critiqued very maliciously by others, because I wouldn't wear the same things they did or would like certain other sports people or what have you. And I was just completely intertwined with hatred with Adam, you suck, you're worthless. What the hell are you doing here? You're an outsider. Because where I grew up, originally is a very small town here in the Hoosier state, and I'm very proud of that. And when I moved to where I live right now, I was an outsider, like a lot of us may be at certain points in our lives. And as all of us know, these kids, even worse today, really make it hard for a lot of younger people to be who they want to be and be proud of that. So for most of my life, I wasn't proud of myself at all. Um, I was very hard on myself. I've had a lot of self-doubt, a lot of, I thought I believed everything they said. Being told, you cannot do whatever the activity was. I couldn't do it. I won't succeed. You can't pass that. You can't outrun me. You can't do all these other things. And growing up, that's what I dealt with. My family dynamic was we're middle class. We work, we work and earn everything we have. From my parents being divorced at a very young age, that really hurt me. Again, I was very young, so I didn't know a lot of things about it. So that really, really affected me really, really bad. Not seeing my father too much, as much as a lot of people would. I didn't get to do that. There was even points in my life I didn't even know who he was. And I just carried that burden upon me throughout my growing up as a kid. I had a lot of fun as a kid in certain aspects. Here in this state, weather is, some have said, the worst of any state in this United States, and I believe that. In a blink of an eye, it changes around here. And I've had everyone from Australia, the furthest you can go, say this to me. And I believe them wholeheartedly. So what I mean is getting to just have fun things as a kid, go sledding or what have you. I got to do those things, but it wasn't as fun as it could have been because my self-worth of just being told all those things, I was lost. I was blinded by the fact that I didn't want to see the truth that I can do something. I could do those things. I was embracing the hate, if you will, embracing the negative. Now to go with the tragedy part, growing up, I had a lot of close people die or pass away, if you will. And throughout my lifetime, I've lost significant amounts of relatives. I've been to over 40 or more funerals in my entire life, if not more than that. And in 1 year, I've lost 9 to 10 relatives in 1 year. And that's happened at least 2 or 3 times. That's on record. And I'll give you a story here that's really big for me and not very many know. In 2004, that's when I started, getting out of school and just trying to find my path in life. I was working when I was still in school. So throughout the elementary, the middle school, I was getting poked, prodded. I was getting disrespected by more than I can name to you. It was really damning to me because I thought, what the hell did I do to you to deserve that? I've always been nothing but nice to people, and during that time, I'd have to defend myself physically, and then again, in between there's deaths. My grandfather died back then. Other relatives, uncles. One particular one in 2004 was 2 weeks to the day I graduated high school, and it hurts me to this day. Him and I were close, but not as close as some, and he died tragically. It was horrible. And I remember getting a phone call, and my relative said to me, "Your Uncle Richard died." And again, him and I were not as close as I would like to be, but he was always working hard. He was always trying to provide for his own kids, just living life his own way. And he did that. And he died very young. And the one thing that sticks with me is he was so proud that I was going to get out of school. He was looking forward to it. And I've never heard him ever say that to me. And he never did, unfortunately. But I've had other relatives say that. And I've never forgotten that. And ever since my Uncle Richard died, there were a string of deaths. Tragedy of that magnitude. My to go into the next topic, self-worth intertwines with that. It was I had completely no self-worth at all. I did not see myself as valuable to anybody um, at all. My own family, friends, people I thought were friends or what have you. No, it was really tough on me, and I just believed all these other people's mindsets for me and trying to define who I was. And I believed it and I embraced it, unfortunately, for most of my lifetime. So my self worth was completely zero. There wasn't any. If I had some on certain days, I'd be surprised. Um, it was really a big time burden for me to even just do the simplest of things, because I knew I'm not going to do this worth a damn. I'm not going to make my family proud if I do this, or I'm not going to help my friend. I always was very judgmental on myself because of those people saying, "Adam, you suck. You're a complete waste of time," basically, among
It,
other.
it's really easy to get caught up in that.
You're right, and I did.
Yeah.
Thank you, and I did. I lived it. I breathed it because it was something that, like a lot of us know, no matter where your environment is, you somewhat embrace that in some capacities, or you can kind of gain some of the habits, I should say,
Mhm.
of others or what have you. And that's somewhat about my family life too. There was a lot of debates or a lot of different things going on in that manner that affected me too. Uh, again, my self worth during that entire time was zero. I mean, absolute. Um, I thought I wasn't even worth being alive at all. It was just that bad. Um, I was just driven by the fact that these people, in my viewpoint, were right. That's how bad I was, completely lost. And with the tragedies in between each different time periods of that, I was just hurting bad. I was really struggling. I didn't have anyone I could talk to. I didn't trust a lot of people, and I still don't today. It's very hard for me to trust. And I've been, like all of us have, backstabbed or lied to or manipulated. I've been manipulated more than I can count, and naive or what have you. And all those things happened. And I was something that I never thought I'd ever would be full of hate and negativity. So the inner self hatred and the negativity really piled on me from all those moments. It was really something that I was completely convinced that I was. Um, and when my Uncle Richard died, and then all these other strings of relatives dying, um, it was just so hard for me to even overcome it. Am I over those deaths? No, I'm not. I'm not at all. I'm at total peace with it, but I'll tell you, internally, my self hatred toward myself magnified even more. It became overly bad. Even other relatives would say, "What's going on here?" And I was too timid or too self-loathing of myself to say anything. I didn't want to say anything. That's just how bad I was. I mean, the negativity and the hatred consumed me enough to where I was very mindful of wanting to just end my life. I've tried to do that a few times in that younger years. I had the thought of, I'm not worth being alive. I really felt so bad that I was like, if I just were to die right now, my family would be so better off. That's literally how I felt. And I would have argued to anybody at that time that that's what I believed, because of all the different actions and different words and different events that happened, just all in a big rush, like a avalanche or a tailspin or what have you. It was like a tornado out of hell. And during that time frame, I'll give an analogy, and that is it was like I was free falling into an abyss. Okay, and we all know what an abyss is, but it's an infinite free fall.
Mhm.
Well, in this particular situation, this all happened in a dream to me. Anyway, during the night, I remember vividly, unequivocally, free falling in this abyss that was dark, cold. It was just, I cannot describe how hateful and how much ooze it was free falling in that thing. Well, at some point during the dream, I landed, or if you will, in a big sea that was calm, but it was full of hate, darkness. I saw things that would blow someone's mind, uh, and with my belief system, it really helped me when I was told, "Son, do you get it now?" And when I heard that, I sat up and I cried for 3 hours straight, and I said, "I get it now." I finally had to hit that because a few days before that, or even a month, I'm sorry, two doctors told me to my face, "Adam, you're going to die. There's no way out. You're done." And I asked them, I said, "Just be honest with me." I didn't want them to sugarcoat it because I knew that wouldn't help me at all. I was so in a dark place. I was working, I was trying to do my own, pay my bills. I was trying to do like any of us would do, and it was just becoming such a big task to do the simplest of things. And my health was bad, 420 pounds. I was gaining weight every day or every other day for years. And during that time, also, I just quit on myself completely. I quit. I tapped out, what have you. I didn't give myself a chance to try. Um, I was just completely I ghosted everybody. I wouldn't even go outside my home. I was embarrassed to be seen by anybody, relatives or not. I was embarrassed of myself to look in the mirror, um, take a shower, anything like that. And honestly, I couldn't even tie my shoes without help. I couldn't put socks on. If I bent over, I could have choked myself to death with just not being able to breathe.
Now, were you
Um,
at your heaviest at this point, Adam?
I was different points. I was like 200 some, to like 250. Then it went to 280. Then it went to 300. Then it went to 330, and it just kept climbing over time. It gradually got worse, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So this was still during my school days. I was really getting heavier. I could notice that, and I really noticed that I was having a lot of frustration, a lot of just disdain, a lot of just pure hatred towards myself and
Mhm.
anything around me, because I knew at that time I thought, how in the hell am I going to get through this? Um, like I said earlier, I was timid as a Cheshire's cat. I mean, I was just afraid to say words at all. Um, a little bit of a speech impediment at some point in my life, so that also played a factor. And that's what played into that negativity towards myself, because other people would poke fun at that or would say some things that I don't want to repeat here. Um, and that's where I just became completely enamored by the fact that I believed all those things. And gaining that weight and noticing that was really tough, because for most of my life I was in pretty good health. I mean, I didn't have the big issues like that. I was very grateful that I was just able to do what I was doing, but I took it all for granted. Um, but that's where that hatred
Mhm.
overshadowed all the good. It overshadowed what was really going on. Um, I guess to paraphrase it, Heather, and anyone else listening, it was like perception was reality when that's a bull-faced lie. Perception is not reality. I'll use an analogy. I was looking through myself through one lens when, let's say, there's 10 other people. I didn't get to look through everything. I was just so narrow-minded to
Mhm.
look through one side of something that wasn't real. It wasn't truthful at all. It was not who I was. It didn't define me. I used to always think, as Jake the Snake Roberts, WWF Hall of Famer, says, I'll paraphrase, my history is not my destiny. Well, damn it, I thought it was,
Mhm.
literally. And I would just continuously fall, not take care of myself because I was like, I'm worthless. No one respects me. No one. I even thought a lot of my own relatives didn't love me at all, and it just really was painful. So basically, that's when I had to was told by those doctors, Adam, it's done. You're over. You better start planning your stuff right now.
Now, how old were you
I
around that?
was I was in my early 20s,
Okay.
mid 20s, early 20s.
I think that's probably pretty harsh to hear when you're that young.
But to be honest with you, Heather, I asked them to do it. I didn't
Yeah.
want them. I was very much wanting the truth. I didn't want to be. You know how doctors can be, and God
Yeah.
bless them. They want to tell you, as nice as they can. Well, I asked them specifically. I said, just please tell me. I'd just rather know their view, and both of them said even some of your years of your life have been taken just by your actions.
Hmm.
Um, so it's going to play a factor the rest of your life, whether you live or not. But you're not going to. That was what they said to me. So during that time, again, 2004, several years after, that's when I started to find what eventually saved my life with my belief system, which was finding the YRG, the DDP yoga, which is technically now DDPY for the record. And back then it was YRG. So for a lot of those who don't know what that was, yoga for regular guys is what it was called. And as I mentioned earlier in the conversation, I've been a pro wrestling fan my entire life. And Dallas Page or DDP rather, was one of my favorites. I've always been a fan of his. And he embodied things that helped me, give me those little seeds planted inside of me, and I didn't realize it. But when I started doing YRG, I was doing it 2-3 days a week. And I said, I'm just going to try this. And at that time, there was no DVDs, there was no app, nothing. I'm a dinosaur here. It was nothing. So I watched a lot of that on YouTube, just different interviews he would do. He spoke about it, would demonstrate a couple things, and I would do them then. And I didn't feel any worse. I'm thinking, okay, I'll just see how this goes. And again, I was still battling my inner demons of, I'm worthless. I'm all these things. And I was trying to work and having issues at work and jobs and all those things. And I was just completely off balance. And during those entire years, I wasn't living. I really wasn't. And I over time, had to gradually figure that out. And I really took everything for granted. So back when I found that, I would do it. And I was still having problems, like I said. So during that time, right before the evolution to DDP yoga, then my stepdad, who was a more of a father to me, was had cancer and was very sick. And I didn't know any of those things until it was almost too late. He was misdiagnosed at least 3 to 4 times that I know of, and he kept very hush hush about it to me. And I could just see he was just withering away. I could see it. I could almost tell you back then he would go to sleep at certain times that I would never say he'd go to sleep at. And he was, at some point he retired. And I remember him telling me when I was at one of my lowest points during that time, he'd turn my light on in my room and say, "Get up, go live your life. Don't sleep all day." And I know that was I took it harshly, even though it wasn't. And I took it for granted. He was trying to help me realize that, you know what, damn it, go live. You're withering, you're wasting your life on what? And he kind of gave me that innerness of, I got to look at myself a little bit more. So over time, that started to affect me. And then at that time, further down the line, this was 2010, 2009. That's when he was having this He had lung cancer. And I remember vividly, and here's the situation. The last day that he was actually coherent and was speaking, I spoke to him on the phone. And I was with my real dad at the time. And I didn't get to go see my other dad. And that ate me alive. I don't regret anything in my life, but that's probably one of the closest things I could tell you I regret. And it hurt me severely. And not long afterwards, he died. And that was the worst day of my life, because a few days, 10 or so days earlier, the big thing that helped me was finding the DDP yoga was watching Arthur's story. And I watched the original YouTube video, which had the Three Doors Down music, which I don't know if it's still around or not, but I watched that video a total of 150 times in a row. And that was one video that kept me going in some capacity of, like, you know what, there's way worse going on than what's happening to you, Adam. There's a lot worse. But my mindset wasn't there. My mind was completely off track. My mind was thinking things that were just not what they should be. So when I watched that video of Arthur's, the original, mind you, for the 150th time, I cried for 3 hours, maybe 4 hours straight. And I turned my focus to doing DDP yoga full time. Again, I was still doing YRG back then, but only 2-3 days a week. So I was just like, you know what? When those doctors told me those things, my dad's about to die. I didn't realize that then. I said, I'm going to either sit here and die, or I'm going to have to die trying. And I said, damn it, I'm going to give myself a chance to try. And what really hit home for that video of Arthur's is every generation of my family has served and still serve today. I take that very seriously. Now, I never did because of health reasons, and I'm not ashamed to tell you. Did I try to? Yes. And it just didn't work. But I'll tell you this right now. When I saw him, it reminded me of some of my relatives that I'm estranged from today, who are veterans and went through a lot of hell. And it reminded me of them saying, Adam, don't give up. We didn't. Why the hell should you? I lost a lot of relatives in the military. They died for this country. And some of them with my belief system, thank goodness that they're still around. And a lot of them I'm estranged from, like I said. So that's kind of very painful for me in that regard. But honestly, I'm better off for it. But it really hit home. It hit the heart. It really pulled my strings and go, why not give it one last chance to try to live? And that's when I started doing DDPY, and that happened April 2nd, 2010 is when I started doing DDPY completely full time, and I've never missed a day since.
And so how many days is that?
3,384 as of today. And I want to make one thing, if I may, Gary and Heather, on this one part for just a moment. Mm-hmm. That streak has nothing to do with the program. What it has to do with is I made that decision to want to live, and damn it, I was going to try or die trying. That streak means everything to me because every day I choose to want to live. I choose to say, damn it, I want to improve myself on whatever it is, one thing a day, and say, no, I'm not going to quit. No, I'm not going to let someone else's viewpoint tell me or dictate what I can and cannot do. And I used to do that for so many years. And I said, damn it, that's going to stop now. And I've never, ever stopped. And I am very proud of that. There's no days off for me. I don't believe in that at all. I really don't. For me and me only, I don't.
Right.
Because to me, my life depends on it. So back to
your life started 3,384 days ago.
It did, and I didn't realize that then. I really didn't. I was so enamored by the focus of doing it I didn't stop and smell the roses, if that makes sense. I didn't
Yeah,
do that.
I think
I
you're lucky. You have that, I don't know, birthday. What do we call it? Rebirthday? You have that point in your head where you can have your before and your now. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of people don't have that. And it's so important to have that. I mean, Gary has it and I have it. We all three have the day we were diagnosed or the day we were told something huge.
Hmm.
And we have that, but I think it's so important to have that.
I agree, and for me, it helps drive me to where it keeps my mind going. You know what? There's nothing I cannot do. There's nothing that I cannot accomplish. Because again, back in those days, I was full of hate. I
Hmm.
was full of negativity. I didn't give a damn. I didn't. I didn't want to live. So it was hard. But when I started this on that date, I started seeing results because I was putting the work in. And is this a workout program? Absolutely not. It's a lifestyle. It really is. Workout's
Right.
just one part of what it
Absolutely.
really is. It's not. It does not define it to me. And I stand by that completely. It's not. There's so much more that I learned that it is, and I learned that with when it was YRG. I learned a lot of that already. And like you said earlier in the open, I appreciate the accolade, but it's all the truth. I've been doing it longer than anyone besides the creators of the actual thing that I've ever been told, and I'm very proud of that.
Hmm.
And that's another part of where the self worth and where I found the program where it helped me is with the health and mindset. That's where I finally figured out that when I can put my mind to something, with like the DDP yoga at that time was when it was called, I never stopped. So I after 3 to 4 to 6 months, I lost 250 pounds. Okay. I mean, I was seeing results every day. I was just putting the work in. I was saying never say die, never give up. I was just never allowing myself to say no. Never allowing myself to say, Adam, you're not going to do that today. And by God, I just kept moving forward. If I had any bumps in the road, which I did, um, not long after my dad died, my grandfather died. He was a hero to me. He meant the world to me, and I project a lot of my life based upon his way of living. Um, he was very much to me a man's man, more than anyone I've ever met in my life. He really is, and he meant so much. And he died, like I said, very shortly after my stepdad, or more of my dad, died. And I remember those days vividly. And that's where my mindset finally hit the switch, and I finally figured out that mindset, where the mind goes, the body will follow. My health is important too. So without your mindset, how's my health going to get there? I have to build my
Right.
body up to where my mind is. And trust me, that took me many years to figure that out. But once
Yeah.
I figured out I was getting that weight off, I figured out that I was feeling better. I could brush my teeth without problems. I could put socks on. I could bend over. I could put my shoes on. I could put clothing on without assistance. I could walk 20 feet and not have issues, or walk a mile and not have a problem. I was just so enamored by, like, wow, I didn't know what that felt like for many years. Um, and it just really hit me the where, again, the mindset is the biggest tool that we have, and our health's the second biggest thing. And without our health, we have nothing. But without our mindset, it can't never get started. And I had to really figure out during that time frame. I looked in my mirror for a month straight, 7 days a week. And I would say to myself, Adam, what are you going to do about it? I said that for 5 minutes straight. No hesitation, no pause. I said that every day for 5 minutes a day. And it finally just clicked. The video on YouTube of Arthur, my dad, my whole, the relatives that served, died for this, and still do today. Meeting people that actually was interested. Showing interest. I don't, and I want to make this very clear. Until just now, today, the only relative, there's only one who means the world to me, that knows everything. I'm giving all of you a highlight of everything because there's never enough time to go through every detail. And I consider him, I put him higher than my own dad. He's the only relative that that believed in me.
And that's hard. That's hard when
And
you're alone.
yeah, he didn't judge. He always said, he always would say, "Damn it, yes you can." And it really
You're doing good. Just take a minute and breathe.
it meant the world to me that just one person said, "Yes, you can." And that for my mindset was huge. That gave me that complete permission to be who I want to be, but also like try. The biggest thing I can say is that he gave me that mindset of, damn it, try. He said, I know and believe in you. And he did. Still does today. And there's years in my life where he didn't live in the same state for 12 years. And I didn't get to see him all the time. And in my belief system, everything happens for a reason. And having him in my life means the world to me. Along with a lot of other people now, like Heather, like yourself, or Gary, and some other people. I'll name a little bit more after a bit here. But all that plays a huge factor in my mindset, my health, and how I can continuously try to give back and help others. And how I can help others is by the neutral positive lifestyle. So, with all those things being said here, I was able to adapt into that type of lifestyle. And for so many years, I was told you have to be perfect, you have to be great, you have to be this. And I used to believe in that. I'm like, oh, yeah, if I'm not that, I'm not, that's bad. Well, for me, and this is just my viewpoint, neutral is good. To me, when you're neutral, you're not going to do this.
Right.
You're going to be right in the middle or barely off centered, if at all. And once I finally, it clicked in my mind, neutral is good. Let's just take one little step here. And I did. And over these 15 years, I've adapted that into my mind with all that hell I went through, with all the tragedy with the loss or the blindness of which I wouldn't see anything. My belief system, being in that for 28 years, having just a lot of issues there based upon my own actions. That affected me. I had to pay those debts, and I'll tell you, I paid a lot, and I'm grateful for it. I have gratitude for that. So the neutral and positive lifestyle was all based about the attitude of gratitude. I never knew that then until my brother Scott French mentioned it to me, but it all added up to me, and it just made sense. And I'm like, God, that's right. That's what it was. I didn't know that then, though. I had no clue. I was just completely like, okay, neutral. I was trying to think of, okay, if I'm going to say one good thing about myself today, what would that be? Or somebody else? Or how can I improve myself in 30 days of challenges? I was just doing it every day, though. And it really was a big benefit. And that's where my Uncle Reese came into play here. He helped kind of guide me towards that without knowing it. Because again, he was always a man of fitness or health minded things, and he was always trying to say, whatever you do, he was just supportive of me, and I would tell him on the phone, and I would cry every time. He just gave me that other sign of light and another reason to want to live. And that's where I tried to really adopt this lifestyle of trying to give back and help others with a show or just with my words or posts. Giving someone that visual or hearing it, that damn it, neutral is a good thing. And if you're good or great, then that's okay. Everything happens in life that are going to be bumps in the road, as I call them. We're going to be frustrated. We're going to have things knock us down. I got knocked down more times than I can count. And again, all those things I take complete ownership over. I had to learn to forgive myself and to build upon the foundation of which I truly am. And for all those years, I didn't do it.
So let me ask you a question about about neutrality.
Sure.
You know, we talked at length over the last couple of days, and you know, we talked about that neutral positive also being contentment.
Yes.
My belief is that a lot of people, especially when they're going through weight loss or a huge lifestyle change, they set their expectations for themselves too high, and then they crash really hard
Yes.
when they don't meet that. Is that kind of, we're talking along the same lines there with your neutral positive?
I did things completely different than what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
I set mine for every moment of every day.
Okay.
To me, I live moment by moment.
Mm-hmm.
I never looked back in the past at that time as much. I always said, and again, in my belief system, looking towards the past or the futures, that's not the that's perception to me. The now is reality.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's around me is what's going on right now. And I had to adopt that style of thought for me to where I could go, okay, structure, contentment or commitment,
Mm-hmm.
structure, and putting the work in. And saying, if I'm going to fall or have a bump in the road, I can get through that. Is so much easier than what I used to and just be pissed or be upset and go, I'm not going to do this. I'm talking from the littlest thing to the biggest thing.
So did you never set yourself a weight loss goal where you said, I want to be a certain weight by a certain time?
No, of course
Okay,
not.
good.
I phased it. I put it in a phase.
Okay.
So 1, 2, and 3 at that time. And when that started kind of with YRG, but when I started going full bore with DDP Yoga, known as at that time, it's not now, but at that time, I set my goals as phase 1, 2, and 3, or stages, however. And I'd say I just want to be able to feel this way at this time, or try to meet that. I never put my goals above what I was capable of doing, is what my point is. I just had very open-ended goals of, you know what? If I can hit this at this point, great. If I hit it a little bit after, that's okay. As long as I was making progress or improving, I was good with that. Because again, I was told I'm going to die. Hey, anything above that's okay. So that's kind of where I was at. I thought, okay, if I can just improve. I never really set a goal. I just set a time frame, not even time frame, but just a stage of, okay, I want to get to feel this way, look this way, and then continue it from there on in. And that's how I did it. Because I said, you know what, again, from where the mind is, the body follows. So if I can live within those parameters, I'm very structured. I'm very disciplined. Some say overly disciplined, but I'm very proud of that. I believe in discipline. Of if I go off a veer, well, sometimes I almost could feel it could lead me to the other way I was. And I've done this, and that's where the ultimate belief comes in. Is I never believed in myself until completely the last 3 years. This year being the third year. That's where that belief system come to me, to where making that decision to want to live, making that mindset change, lifestyle change, most importantly. That's when I started to gain the ultimate belief in myself, because it was always there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where Dallas' words or his quotes or his sayings really made a big difference. My uncle's things, or I would overhear other people or read different things. It made an impact. And I remember, remembering seeing, like I said, the Arthur thing, or Dallas coming back to the ring after what he dealt with, or another favorite wrestler of mine, Stone Cold Steve Austin, almost dying in the ring, and he came back. I said, hell, that made an impact. And I said, you know what? I can do this. Music played a big factor. Just giving myself that time of the day where I have reflection times, what I call it.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to have that peace of mind, reflect, build, and improve. And during those times, I gained belief. And when I started to get more flexible, started to be more neutrally living, and also continuously trying to help others too, I learned the ultimate belief in oneself or into someone else plays a big factor in how I can, or how oneself can improve drastically, is belief. Without belief, I wouldn't be sitting here right now in a lot of ways. I had zero, Heather and everyone listening, zero belief in myself at any level. Zero. And being a mindset, being a hateful and negative person, all towards myself. And I want to make that clear. It's all towards myself, and that affected other people. And
Of course.
and that's where I learned a lot of that. Is over time, reflection helped me realize those things, and having that belief, and having, like my uncle always having that belief in me, I never understood it until that happened. Because he almost could oversee that. He could foresee, like, one day you're going to do that. He didn't say when or where, but it always stuck with me. And when I started again, my health started to change, and I gained that belief, I gained that confidence that I can do it. That there is no such thing as I can't. I can't yet. I cannot do. If I don't know how to do something, I can learn how to, or whatever it is. That belief system of the ultimate variety helped me through.
Where in your process, how far along in your transformation, in your journey, did you gain that belief? How long do you think it took you?
7, 8 years.
So not an easy process by any means.
For me it was not. No.
Right.
I can say it's better, easy for me now, but then no. I'll use this as an example, going into the transformation part of it, to kind of intertwine this.
Yeah.
These last 3 years, which would be this year included for 3, are the first time in my entire life I've actually lived and enjoyed living, and actually could flat tell you I am who I am, and I'm proud of that. As I mentioned earlier, and that goes along with everything that we mentioned already, being so hard on myself, critiquing myself very, very, very bad. And I know you can attest to hearing me do that once in a while, or more so than more times than that. But my point is, back then I was way worse than what you see, and that's where that transformation comes into play.
But don't you think that in the past, it was more self-deprecating. It was parroting what other people had programmed into, and now it's just you being critical of the mistakes you make. There's a big difference between those two.
I would say most of it is that, and then some of it was just my own doing, just because I was just so weak, mentally weak. I was. I wasn't physically as strong or weak or strong at any level as I am right now. I was still very vulnerable. I knew that at any point, if I veered a little bit left, right, or whatever, through the belief or whatever, as you said, I'd be right. Or
You're jumping off the wagon at that point.
I could. I felt like I could.
Yeah.
And I knew I'd be dead at that point. So I said, okay, I don't want to do that. So the total transformation with all those things is realizing that I can be who I want to be and act who I actually am. I know it made no sense.
It made total sense, actually.
But I am actually being who I want to be without having to be of any type of under a magnifying glass. You have to act this way. You can't do that. You can't listen to music that you like to listen to. You can't read, or you can't play a game or whatever it may be. I was always critiqued really hard for all my life, and then this will be the third year I've said no, I'm going to do and be who I want to be. And that's where I've kept my mouth shut for 7 or 8 years before I even opened it about myself in any capacity in this entire thing. Doing the live videos of like Gary and everything, that's a part of the transformation. Giving back something to all of you, or to someone who I just don't know at all, that I never had. I never had that. It was me, myself, and I. Most importantly, my belief system above all that. And that's where I had nothing else. I was just like a lost puppy, just keeping on and walking. I had no guidance. I wouldn't allow myself to have any guidance either. It was just, and that's where this transformation really cleared my mind. It cleared my vision. It makes me see clearly. It helps me in everyday life to say, you know what? I can do anything. I've accomplished a lot of things. I mean, talking on camera, one of those right there.
Right.
I would never, I swear on my soul, would ever do that 20 years ago. I wouldn't be caught on these, or even talking on a microphone, or in front of just groups of people, meeting a lot of people. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't do it. I'll give an example. I love going to concerts. I love music. Music is a big part of my life. I love it. And I've been at a concert where there was about 80,000 people. It didn't bother me. I felt like I was at home. But if I'm around a small group, sometimes it can get a little bit odd. But not anymore. It all makes sense to where it's like, you know what? Looking back at where I was physically, mentally, belief system wise, I made a complete 360 turnaround, completely. If any of you knew me then, and obviously now, you'd go, good God, yeah, this is who you are. Well, and that's true. The transformation took place by all of these things allowing themselves to happen. Allowing myself to hit that rock bottom, and to me, that was death. I want to make that clear. That was death. And here's another analogy they told me is, you're 3/4 in the grave now. Well, to put it in a layman's term. So that's where that really sunk in.
And how do I word this? Are you grateful? Are you grateful that you hit rock bottom?
I'm blessed for it. I have complete total gratitude for it. I am, and would never change a thing at all. I have complete total gratification of gratitude, the attitude, and the thankfulness and the blissfulness to say everything I went through, I wouldn't change a damn thing. I am so proud of it, because that made me who I am today. It just took a long time for me, longer than maybe some, and I had to figure it out, and I did. So then that's where the transformation is, that put everything together. Now the unstoppable mindset is to never ever allow myself to not think I can't. Thinking about, there was a post, I don't know if you posted it, Heather, or not, but something about, I get to do something. Well, I get to finally live.
Yep.
I get to be alive. I get to be and get to be proud of who and what the hell I am. That's what I get to. That's just three short, and I have a litany of things. I won't take everyone
But
else's.
that's the most important. You
It
get to
is.
be.
I get to be me. I get to be proud, and I get to live.
Yeah.
And I want to say this, just within my belief system, I didn't deserve to live at all. I really didn't. It just is a big part of how it helps me maintain my neutralness, my lifestyle, my structure. That
Mhm.
at any moment I could not be here. Any moment, I had a lot of debts I had to pay in my belief system, and I mean that with respect. I did, and I paid them all. I've owned up to them. I take complete ownership of me, mistakes, whatever. That's where that unstoppable mindset helps me realize that, you know what, those chapters are closed. The book is shut. Doesn't matter now. What matters is now, here and now, and what I've become and how I've helped people. I hope I have, and try to give someone that little push that they need, or nudge, if you will. They go, I can do this. I can get to be able to do this, this, or this, whatever their goals are. And I think, and honestly, I get messages about this all the time, about that streak. And again, it has nothing to do with the program in a sense. It means I made that life decision to want to live and try to live. And I take that seriously. And I've gotten some type of messages that were mocking of that. And I want to admit that right now. But I just say to those people, if you don't know, then don't.
Yep.
That's perception, and that's just, and
Right.
you know how I feel about that. So
Yeah, it's not you bragging. It's
no,
you showing people, look, for this number of days I've
I
held myself accountable, and it's not accountable to a program, to a
nope,
diet, to a workout.
no,
It's
no.
accountable to every second of every day of every year of your life for 3,384 days.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate what you just said, because again, it's about that having that gratitude
Mhm.
to just say I'm still talking right now. Hey,
Absolutely.
just being able to do anything from the smallest to the biggest, I'm grateful for all of it. And you've heard me say this: the most simplistic thing makes the greatest impact, and I
Mhm.
believe that wholeheartedly. And I want to make this point, if I may, Heather, and
Yeah,
Gary,
absolutely.
is something that I think is really important for me to say. This has nothing to do with me. It's about what happened to me to where I build upon where I am right now.
Mhm.
I am not boasting. I am not doing any of those things. And you can ask Heather, and I can name you a litany of people that will flat tell you I don't do that.
Nope.
Uh, Heather, okay. How many times do you see me pat myself on the back? Have you noticed? Not very many,
Never.
right?
You
Because
deflect. You deflect. Anytime anyone is complimentary, you deflect. You
because
compliment someone else, or you
I
give it
do.
back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
You're
because
one
I
of the most
won't.
humble people I've ever met.
That means a lot to me, and I really appreciate you saying that, because that's who and what I am. Is, again, I waited 7 or 8 years before I opened my mouth on the media,
Hmm.
on the groups or whatever. I don't know anyone else that's done that. I did, but that's
Yeah.
just how I had to do it. And I cannot thank everyone in my life, whether they're in my life or not. I'm grateful for all of it. I have gratitude for what I have
Hmm.
and what I don't have, and that's where that mindset again gives me that capability to put all that negative and throw it right in the trash, and say that doesn't impact me no more. It does not define who you need to be in that moment or any moment after.
And I'm gonna tell you something before we go to comments, because it's been very active.
Okay,
Um, but I'm gonna tell you something
sure.
that I saved for tonight.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna tell you what I learned from you just by our
Please.
interactions and all, and
Thank
that
you.
is to be the best person you can every single minute of the day, because you don't know when you're going to have an impact on someone. So it doesn't matter if I'm at the gym, I'm going to work out the best I can. It doesn't matter if I'm standing in line at the grocery store, I'm going to be the nicest person I can. I'm going to be the most patient person I can. I'm going to be accepting of things. And I try really hard to do that, except with Comcast. I'm just going to say they're a totally
And
different entity.
I agree with you on that one.
But I try to be the best me I can be everywhere I go, because I never ever know when I might meet someone that I can have an impact on, and I got that from you.
Well, I'm very, without tearing up here, I'm very touched by that. I'm very grateful for those words and the kindness that you showed, and sharing that with me on here on the live here. I'm really appreciative of that. And I've mentioned this to you and Gary, and I'll share it with everybody else on here. If I can help one of you in one way or form or fashion, then I'm supremely grateful for it. My gratitude is beyond measure, because all of you have done that for me in some form or fashion. And that's where my humbleness and that's where my gratefulness comes in. Is uh, I don't like putting compliments on myself, because for me, I want to do that for someone else, because that's just how I am.
Well, and you didn't get it younger.
I didn't for I've never had gotten it. My uncle Reese is the closest person, or honestly, probably the only one that did constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't. Again, for years I didn't see him all the time.
Right.
So, and I think that all culminates with everything. Is I have even greater things that I'm doing now, being a part of this group, being a part of your life or Gary's life, or like I mentioned, Scott. He's family to me. Kat and Ava are family to me. Jesse. I can go down a whole litany of people,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to first and foremost say to Dallas Page, thank you for how you spoke, and everything you say, like with everyone else in here, speaks volumes to me.
Yeah.
Is when he talks or when all of you talk, I listen, because guess what? I learn something.
Right.
I adapt to something. I go, God, that hit me. Mental note. Okay, let me use that. Everything I said here tonight is completely real. There's nothing there. I'm giving you highlights, yes, but it's all what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that the future project that I'm working on, and Heather's helping me as well as Gary knows what it is. I'll just go ahead and say it now if you want, Heather. Is
It's up to you, my dear.
I am going to film a documentary about my journey, but give it complete detail. And I'm doing it for me, but also to try to see if not for greed, not for money, not for any of that crap. I'm doing it to help someone who wants to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I want to do, and Heather, I've told you this, is at one point give it to people that's affected me, like the Dallas or yourself, or I mean, obviously you're helping me with it. But if say you didn't at that time,
Right.
I would have just said, "Hey, Heather, here you go,"
Mm-hmm.
or "Hey, Jesse, hey, LJ, hey, Bruce, or hey, so and so." Whenever you have time, whenever it is, take just if you would, I'd appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even give it any other words. That would be it. And Dallas would be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like or Gary, or even my uncle. Obviously, I want to give him one.
Absolutely.
But you know what I mean. And
Yep.
it's just something that your words there. I really appreciate that, and I hope I've done that for someone else, even in the smallest way. I appreciate that, because again, all of you've done that for me, wholeheartedly. And being a part of this group, being a part of being a part of being able to live is huge. So being able to do this show with you and Gary, is extremely gratifying for me. I love it. I enjoy it. You both are very close to me. You know that. I learn things from you and Gary all the time. That be more. I forget the word Gary used or you used, but try not to be so hard on myself. I'll paraphrase. or to try not to.
I think was the word.
Self-deprecating. Thank you. I knew you'd pick me up. Self-deprecating or what have you, and I've learned that, and I've tried to learn different nuances when or helping the interview or whatever, and I've learned a lot from both of you and other people too. And I just want to say, from my heart to anyone else, I appreciate and thank everybody who's in my life, who cares, and who's invested in any small way or whatever size it is. I appreciate it. Those who read my posts every day, thank you. Those who watch this show, most importantly, or interact in this group, thank you. Those who do it in any other group that I'm in or they're in, I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone being who they really are. I appreciate everyone who allows me to tag them in posts. Thank you. I know I've had different issues with that with certain individuals, but all my posts are all about what I've been through, and they're all neutral and positive. I think I know, Heather, you would admit, you would confess that too, is nothing I put out there is not real. It's all something
Absolutely.
I believe. I believe in it because if I didn't believe it, I wouldn't do it. And I used to do things I didn't fully have belief in, and look where it got me.
Right.
Almost pretty near dead. So.
Well, we lost Gary very early on from technical difficulties, but
well, I'm sorry that we did.
Watching.
But, okay.
And he says he's seen a big difference in you since you've even just started doing live videos, and I have too.
And from you both saying that means the world to me, and I really appreciate Gary, and he's like a brother, and you know how close you are to me, Heather. You and I've spoke about it. You're both family to me, and I'm really grateful that you both have taught me things, or shown me different avenues to go, okay, modify a little bit, and here you are. Hey, I like that, because if I had all the answers, I wouldn't be here.
Well, and it's interesting because you and I had this big conversation. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And one of the things we were talking about is how so many people are focused on weight loss.
Yes.
And that sometimes the biggest weight loss isn't the actual pounds. And it's really funny that during you talking, Jason came up with the weight of the world from one's shoulders is the most important weight one can lose, which is basically paraphrasing what you and I said to each other yesterday.
And I want to put Jason over because he's a brother to me. He's family to me. He means a lot. And he does a lot of great things, and I appreciate Jason's comment, but that's spot on, absolutely. And I really appreciate and love him a lot, so thank you, Jason, for watching this. And anyone else, but questions or anything, obviously just jump right in here.
Yeah, if anyone has questions for Adam, go ahead and start asking.
Sure. I just appreciate, again, the opportunity to give that information and let that off my mind, because again, and Gary and Heather will attest to this, I'm very tight-lipped, so I've been trying to improve that. So again, until again, it's not the full thing, but pretty darn within different details. It gives you a highlight, and I think that's important.
So I'm gonna poke the bear here a little bit and make you be a little bit loose-lipped.
Please go ahead.
I've seen a huge difference in you since I met you and we started talking.
Sure.
And you talk about from where you were to where you are. But one of the things that you don't talk about are relationships. You're talking about now you're going to do this documentary.
Sure.
But I think it's really important for people to see you even fuller. So
yes.
what's coming up for you, Adam?
I have to keep it somewhat kayfabe because that's what she and I have discussed. But great.
Well, you won't be Adam from the Hoosier State much longer.
No, I'm actually going to be moving in a couple, like 15 days, is it? To where the love of my life is, and that's a different state. It'll be in Nevada. I'll just go with that right now.
Yep.
And the future is even brighter than ever before. I thank her so much for what she does for me. I know she's probably watching this. I love you very much, and I appreciate your support. and never quitting on me either. And she means the world to me.
And the
And
reason I push that is I have a question for you.
sure,
Because I went through a lot of the same sort of emotions. They arrived differently for me, but a lot of the same emotions and same struggles that you went through.
we have a lot of similarities.
We do
Yes,
have a lot of similarities. We
very,
could
very
probably
much.
spend hours talking about it.
I love it. Yeah.
Do you feel that your past has caused you hurdles that you had to overcome in personal relationships? And do you feel that you have overcome most of them, and are you comfortable with who you are within a relationship at this point?
Yes, all of those things. Yes. A lot of the relationship was mainly with different family members.
Mm-hmm.
Would be the biggest hurdle there. I knew I wanted to be with someone who was the one. Obviously, I know that's very vague, and that's a lot of
I
people.
know, I know.
It's a cliche, but
Yeah.
with her, it is.
Mm-hmm.
With her, she means the world to me. We talk every day. She helps motivate me in different ways, like you or Gary or other people do. Yeah, absolutely. I've learned, oddly enough, I've learned so much about relationships from watching things happen, and I wasn't involved, but I've learned so much just from watching other people and obviously my own family make mistakes or what have you, and so I'm completely comfortable, prepared for anything, and I am proud of who I am. So yes, it took until this year to completely go over all those things, sure, but would I change it? Absolutely not. I'm grateful for all of it.
Jason said, "Do you think your love of professional wrestling saved your life? Would you have gone all in with DDPY if Dallas wasn't the one to create it?" It
Uh,
wouldn't have been DDPY, first of all. I mean, Dallas created it. Let's go back to the beginning. Dallas
sure,
created it as a rehabilitation program for himself.
correct. Yep,
Um,
because of his injuries with the wrestling, yeah,
right, and what it's become
has evolved into what it
evolved.
is.
Right.
Yes. To answer my brother's question, yes and yes. Um, the pro wrestling love I have, it's never going to go away. But did that make a big factor in it? No. What factored in, Jason, is my potential. I even with the cloudiness and the hate I had, I could still see a little glimpse of hope in that. And the wrestling had nothing to do with it. That's just icing on the cake, if that makes sense, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
That's just another avenue of like icing on the cake of, oh man, that's just another part of it that that did not mean I wouldn't do it or not. Now, back then it was YRG, so it wasn't even named DDPY like it is now for the last year or so. So when it was YRG, if someone else did it and I still had that, absolutely, it was all in line, and I knew that that was my only. I had to make that choice, and I chose YRG to all this now to make it a part of who and what I am. But the biggest thing it did for me was help my lifestyle to the complete nine. Again, 360. I hope I answered your question, Jason. I didn't.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Okay. Okay.
He said it. He said, "Got it." I was wondering the same for myself, wondering if I would have ever known about it without DDP.
Oh, I would absolutely. I mean, and I'm glad he said that. I appreciate your question. I really do. Again, he's family to me, and I really appreciate him a lot. Yeah, that wasn't the deciding factor, as he alluded to. Absolutely not. Any one of them could have created it at that moment, and that moment in time. It was a formality. Um, Obviously, I learned that over time, but at that point, I had to do it to get where I am.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, um, the workout was just a very small piece of the biggest puzzle that it created within me. Again, being on a camera, holding the microphone or a stick, as they say, talking in front of groups of people. I think what also all those things that added up for me, Heather and Gary or anyone else, is I'm certified to be a life coach, and I have been for a little over a year now. Things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Mentoring 65 people, trying to give back on the posts and this and messaging people here and there. I try to do anything I can to help, and I'm grateful with beyond gratitude to be able to do what I'm able to do, and anything I'm able to do. Hey, if it helps, then that's great. That's what I'm shooting for, is to take anything I say, modify it, and make it work for you. I made everything of YRG, whatever DDPY now. I made it my own.
Yeah. Your diet, your workouts, everything is the Atom system.
It's the Atom system, because along with all those things is I had 2 different internal surgeries, back to back, like 4 months or less apart. So I do not have a gallbladder. So why I saved my system is, and that's just something I firmly believe in doing for me. Helps me. But I believe, and I've advocated that for anybody, is make your own system. Yep. Whatever your system is, do it. And I want to make this, if I can, for just a second. If anything that helps you, I support it. If it doesn't, I don't. I would love to see everyone succeed in any way, form, or fashion that they want to succeed in.
Yeah, because success doesn't have to be the weight loss. It doesn't have to be.
It could just be here, the mind. Right. It could just be seeing something. I'm all for it. I don't have a boundary or a limitation. I believe, with my system of belief, or just in general, now that I'm living, nothing can hold me back or anyone back if we put our effort involved in it and we believe. What's the big quote that Dallas says, or anyone for that matter, right? The ultimate belief, I never underestimate the ultimate belief of
the power of ultimate belief.
The power of ultimate belief that you give yourself or someone. I'm paraphrasing it,
right?
But that's powerful stuff.
It is.
Again, just one simple thing that someone like how I helped you, Heather, in any way. Like the other day, I helped you. I don't know if you're comfortable saying it or not, but
go ahead.
The mindset, where the mind goes, the body will follow. What did you say to me, if you want to paraphrase or give the detail, yesterday? It gave you that power to do. Damn it! You didn't even think about it. You just did it.
I did, yeah. So that was when I have always worn workout clothes around the house, or I wear them to the gym and I'm fine. But I left the gym hot and sweaty in my workout clothes, and I actually went to the grocery store, and I didn't think about it because I was finally comfortable in what I was wearing and comfortable in my skin. And I'm walking in the grocery store going, well, shit, thanks, Adam. Because it was that mindset that you keep driving into me, is that where the mind goes, the body will follow. And
yeah.
And it really sometimes things happen slowly, but that was like a bang.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're okay with yourself.
Yeah, and that's what you see when you told me that yesterday. You know how that took me most of my life to finally figure that out.
No, it's taken me most of my life too.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we're paralleled in a lot of things. We pretty much are almost similar in most of it. So yeah, I hope
you're my brother from another mother, I think.
That's what I'm talking about. Very well.
Yeah, and I want to say on the back of all of this, especially since we're kind of hitting on the Atom system, it is so important in my mind for you to do what works for you. That may work for people, or eating a very exclusionary diet may work for people, or being very, you only do 1 of 3 workouts, whatever it is. Sure. If you can't live that way, all right, let's take Michelle, because I have all the just props in the world for her. And I do
as well. So yeah.
I messaged her and I said, I give you so much respect. I couldn't eat the same meals 5 days a week. I don't know how you can do that. It would not work for me, but I give you so much respect that you have the strength to do that. And it made me realize that if I tried that, I'd fail in like 2 days. If I kept trying to do DDPY workouts the way they're laid out, I would fail. I did fail. I
Sure.
had to create what worked for me in everything that I do. And you had to do it too, because otherwise
Yes.
your chance of failure is so high.
And chance of death are even bigger than
Yes.
that. And that's the biggest thing I want to advocate here is that would impact if I'm alive or not. And that's something that I again take very serious is, man, everything you said, I agree with it. My system is because of my own physical ailments of surgeries and whatever.
Hmm.
So I had to adapt, react, and take action. I had to do it the way that works for me. And everything I ever say is not to say people should do it. No, no. I advocate, as you said, whatever works for someone, I support. As long as it helps them, I support it.
Right.
If it does not, then not so much. I would love to see in with posts or just in any factor of life, if they can improve even on one small thing a day, then damn it, I'm damn proud of them.
Yeah.
Because that's hard enough. So I hope there's other questions. I'll answer them. But yeah, I think it's just so impactful to have that uh, mentality of, there's no blueprint here. You make your own blueprint and create your own and make it and have complete ownership of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the questions have slowed down. I mean, there's a lot. I don't even know how many messages we have on here, but there's a
Sure.
lot of messages, but
Okay.
there's not a lot of questions. There's a lot of people agreeing with you. We have a
Hmm.
couple of regulars that are very active in the chat, and it'll be
Sure.
great. You can go over and you can read them and
I
respond.
like to. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I gotta say, I mean, I find your story um, inspirational and uplifting. I get so much of it because you and I have been in so many of the same spaces
Yes.
and around the same times of our lives.
Sure.
And I want to thank you because I think in some ways you're so humble you don't realize how much of an impact you do have on people's lives. I know that Gary and I both cherish our friendships with you. And I know a lot of people look forward every morning. I hear it from people. They get up and one of the first things they want to see is your post. You help people every single day. I think that I think I'm gonna miss like hell that you're not gonna be out here in the Midwest so that we can hang out.
I know.
Um,
Yeah.
I think you have a huge, huge rest of your life ahead. Jason says, "Oh, Jason, man, you're hitting hard today.
I like it.
What advice would you give a person who has had their passion stolen from them in order to try and reclaim it?"
Oh, that's a great.
Wow. Oh,
God, that's a. My
that's a
brother's hit.
show.
That is, and I'm living proof of that, along with everybody else who does in their way. My brother, I'll say this: how I had to do it was I had to go through what I went through to start to appreciate what I had,
Mhm.
and had to appreciate the fact that I didn't deserve to be around. At any moment, I could have been gone. Um, my passion for myself was gone for until the last couple of years. So, is there a complete answer to it to me? I'll just say that always, only the true person knows deep down how to reclaim it. And I did, but it took so much to get it out of me. Um, I would just say to suggestions, if I can, Jason, is to have some reflection time. Live and only think about the now. The past does not matter. It does not define you. It does not hold you down like it did. I thought it did for me, and it was complete again perception.
Mhm.
It's not real. It's not. It's just not. Um, tr- Attempt to try to go outside your comfort zone and attempt to try to reclaim who you really were at whatever point in your life and make that even better by just improving every day. Try to improve on one thing a day. And then whatever that passion is, I don't know if it's wrestling, music, whatever it may be, if it's really a passion, you'll never go away from it in some capacity. It'll always burn within you. And for me, that would have been life, and I'd never realized it until it was almost too late. So I know that's a very complicated or odd answer. Man,
You know,
I really
Jason, I'm going to answer that from a different point of view.
please go ahead.
And it's because of his wording.
Yeah, very
The
well
passion
said.
stolen from him. Look,
Sure.
Jason, you know, you gave someone power to take it from you. Now you need to take that power back. Don't give. And I had to learn this the hard way because I had an alcoholic mom who,
Oh man.
let me tell you, it was bad. We'll get into
Sure.
that one day. But
Sure.
you can't give that power away to someone else. If someone takes something from you, you allowed them to.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so you grab that back. Whatever, if it's truly a passion of
Oh,
yours,
yes.
which I think he's saying that DDPY was the passion that was taken.
Okay.
I don't care what happened. I don't care what it is that took it away or who it is that took it away. If you're truly passionate about it, let the passion give you the power to take it back. And don't give that power to someone else.
And once you grab it, hold that, hold it and grab it and hold it close to you, and never, always try your damnedest to never let something other than you relinquish it.
Yep, absolutely.
Because just to piggyback off of you, because that was a great answer. I agree with everything she said and what I said completely. I did that myself, Jason, in a lot of things in my own life, so I get it and I understand what you're saying. When I grab something, oh my God, I put it right here and I don't let go of nothing. I have it right there, especially when it's something that can help or gives help. Like if I've helped people, like you said, hey, I own that and I'm grateful for it. So yeah, just like Heather said, and then like I said, just keep grabbing it. And if that passion always burns within you, you'll never lose it.
Yeah, in fact, I'm going to say, from a self-care point of view, and I've talked about this before, we don't give ourselves permission enough.
No, we don't.
For things. It doesn't
You're
matter
right.
if it's permission.
Right. Oh, man.
It doesn't matter if it's permission to take care of yourself or if it's permission to grab that power back.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to say to you, Jason, and I'm just going to sit here and make an executive decision. I'm going to give you a chance to get that power back, Jason. Monday night, this coming Monday, a week from today, you be a guest on here and you tell it.
He's got my full support.
You get on here and you talk and you take back that power and you take back that passion.
And you own it.
And you own it. And I mean, you have been so helpful. Look at John Kalan. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Okay. John's been talking. He says, we need you, Jason. Your passion rubbed off on me and look where I am today. Jason, other people need you. We just like we need Adam, we need Gary, we need Kristen, hopefully people need me. We need you, Jason, and we need the Jason that I sometimes call you Preacher Jason, because when you get going, man, you get going. And we need you. And so we're going to give you that chance to get that power back. And
take ownership of whatever that is and not let it go.
Absolutely. Jason says this means more to him than we realize that he would love to. Perfect.
I'm glad that he did, because again, and that's something that what I want to say is, in anything in your life, there's no phrase of I can't. Yes, you can. And I want to make this clear. All of us are worth it. All of us are able, capable, and all of us have that right to own something and to grab it, and damn it, don't let it go.
Absolutely.
And to be who and what you want to be.
Yeah.
Nobody or no one thing can ever tell you nothing other than what you can tell yourself. And
really, if this happens, if someone takes that power over you. If that keeps happening, you have to change your mindset. I had to change my mindset by changing my goals.
Sure.
Because one of the things that I found is I was getting bummed out and actually stopped doing anything with DDPY for a while. I stopped exercising because I just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. But I realized that what works for other people doesn't work for me. And
Sure.
so that's why I have my yoga picture boards up,
Yeah.
because this is the way I'm checking my goals is
Yeah.
100 yoga poses.
Sure.
Jason, and anyone who's listening, look at your life differently. If
Yeah.
what you're doing isn't working, change
Modify it.
it.
Yeah.
Modify it,
Modify it.
change it, and make it work right for you.
And make it your own and own it, because again,
Yeah.
if I didn't do it, or any of those others that are watching this don't do that, then who the hell is? Who's going?
Absolutely.
No one's. You know, the bottom line is, all of us have the intangibles to accomplish anything in our lives. I don't care what anyone says, and I know there's a lot of, in this time of day, or day, society, it's different. And there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of negative out there, outside your walls or wherever you are. It's around us all. We have the power to not allow that to enter our mind as best we can, and to still stay true to who we are. And I tell you this just because I'm living proof of the fact that various states or whatever, I know this state where I'm at right now is very different than some, but the bottom line is, I never veered away from something. Once I gained it, I kept it, and I never let something else derail me. All of us are worth, capable, and have complete. All of us are unique, and what makes us, and what that uniqueness does is make us great,
Mm-hmm.
and makes us one of a kind, and that's a great thing.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and really, from my heart to anyone else, whoever says you can't, they can shove it. That's bull. That's BS. That doesn't exist. If then they need to look in the mirror, take a nap, and figure it out. Because that's not the way to live.
No.
And that's not the way to help people. That's not the way to give a good reflection of who you are. It's just going to make it worse. It could make them worse,
Mm-hmm.
right? And people, again, I've been through that too. So I just, again, take the chance. Absolutely. If you just have that belief of, yes, I can, you'll be, and like my brother Gary said, you'll be surprised at whatever you can accomplish by just a little bit of faith in yourself, or belief of, I want to try. All I would ever ask for someone is to give yourself that chance to try, and you will be surprised among surprised by the results of what you put in. The only way you're going to attain something is by as much effort as you put into it.
And let's remember, you have to fail in order to succeed.
Yeah, and that's the greatest. I'll tell you, I'm glad you just said that. If I didn't fail like I did, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And I'm grateful that I did fail in everything I did, because it made me better, stronger, more capable, more adaptable, able to think more, breathe. I could do a whole show about that. I mean, my goodness. It's just having that neutralness, the lifestyle, the mindset, the inner belief, the self-worth. We're worth everything that we believe. We can make something better and make a difference by how we act.
Absolutely.
Actions create, words create, true actions create change. Words can only do so much. Actions put it over the top. And you don't have to do anything overboard. Again, simplicity, the most simplistic thing makes the greatest impact. If you truly care, then by God, someone's going to feel it.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw out a challenge for everyone for the next week. Every single day, do one nice thing for someone else. I don't care if you're walking through the gym, down the street, in the grocery store, and all you do is you smile at one person and say hi. You could
Yeah.
totally change that person's day.
Yeah, and I want to add to that for just a moment. How about try to improve on one thing a day?
Yeah.
One thing a day, and then tell and say to yourself one good thing about yourself a day. One thing. I don't care
Yeah.
what.
I like that.
To add to what you said, because that's to me what you said is perfect. Just add a little nuances.
Yep.
My goodness, that would be an unstoppable mindset, but an unstoppable way to live.
And it's infectious.
It is, and and I really do hope that people took something out of what I said tonight here,
Oh yeah.
and know that I am always here for anybody, and I know Heather can attest to that, and some other people. I don't know who's all watching here, but I'll say that I try to help in any way I can. And have I made mistakes? Hell yeah. Am I perfect? Hell no. But I am who I am, and I'm grateful for that. And without, like I said, the attitude of gratitude, I want to put that over one last time, that was a huge part of a lot of this. Again, I learned it well after the fact, but the bottom line is that's a huge thing. Again, where your mindset is, the body will follow. That's just the truth. It really is. I'm living proof of that. I'm still alive. And for that, I'm always grateful. I'm grateful for everybody who even tuned into this. I appreciate Gary and Heather giving me this platform, allowing me the time, and I really do hope someone or anyone who did gain something out of this. It means a lot, and I hope maybe if they're ever comfortable, just message me about it at some point.
Yep.
I just want to keep in contact and try to help. And again, those who support me, thank you so much. Because I support all of you without question, no hesitation here. And never allow yourself not to believe, because by God, you can do it. And I'm just very humbled that I'm a part of this entire group and part of this community and a part of just life. And,
well, I can honestly say, I mean, Gary and I'm going to speak for Gary, but because he's not here, but we're both really honored that that you took this opportunity to tell your story. We both can't wait to help in any way we can in your future endeavors. Obviously, I really hope. I hope that we've helped someone. We're gonna close up at this point. We are at an hour and 38 minutes.
Well,
it's fantastic.
I'm really grateful that people were engaged and people had something to say. And one last thing is, everything I say is meant in neutral and a positive manner. There's no offense made on my end at all towards anybody. I hope I don't offend anybody, because that's not what I'm here to do. I stand by everything I said, but I also stand by the fact that I'm here to try to help. And I'm just giving you based upon me and me only. So, I just am grateful that we went as long as we did, and I appreciate allowing me to do so. So that means a lot. It really does.
Well, in that case, I think it's been an emotional roller coaster ride tonight. Man, Adam, I tell you, you tugged at my heartstrings, but your message is incredible. Your story and your journey are amazing. Amazing again will be next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have Jason on. And Jason, you and I have to get together and chat a little bit. And everybody, again, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining the group. We will be reposting this on all the groups in the next couple of days so everybody can watch it. Please start keeping an eye out for things like the instructor challenges that we're going to start doing. And then Kristen and I are going to get out, hopefully within the next week or two, we're going to get out the first of the new videos that we're going to do, the inspiration under 5. They're just short little workout videos to inspirational music. We've got a lot of things in the works. We're growing, and we take comments, we take suggestions. You can reach out to Gary, Adam, or I. We are always willing to listen.
Always
for
available.
about improvements or suggestions, whatever you want. So until then, probably do some pop-ups during the week, maybe some more challenges, some fun, silly stuff. And we will see everybody next week with Jason as our guest. Adam, you want to close us out?
Thanks again, everybody. From the bottom of my heart, my mind, my soul, I appreciate it. And never underestimate the ultimate power you give yourself in believing in you, because again, that's powerful, because all of you are. All of you are worth everything and above anyone else's expectation. And I appreciate and admire everybody here. And I hope I can be that just a little bit for everybody else. And until next Monday with my brother Jason, we will catch you down the road.
All right, Transformation Roundtable out. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.